All right, let's do a deep dive into MCT oil. Today we're focusing on something that you're particularly interested in, and that's how MCT oil can help with digestive issues, especially bloating.
That's great.
Yeah, we're going to unpack what makes this oil so special and unique, and then explore some of the potential benefits.
Yes.
And hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a good grasp on how to best utilize it.
It's exciting to see people getting more and more interested in the connection between what we eat and how we feel.
Absolutely.
And MCT oil definitely has some interesting properties when it comes to digestion.
For sure, for sure. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is MCT oil?
Right.
I know it's gotten a lot of buzz lately, but I'll be honest, I'm still a little bit fuzzy on the details.
So MCT stands for medium-chain triglycerides.
Okay.
Now, most of the fat we eat is long-chain triglycerides, which take longer to break down. MCTs, on the other hand, have this unique structure that allows them to be digested and absorbed more quickly.
So they're like the express lane for digestion?
Yeah. Exactly. And this rapid absorption is a big part of why MCT oil is often lauded as this great energy source.
Okay.
Especially for people who have trouble digesting other fats.
Okay, so fast digestion, quick energy, but how does this all tie back to my main concern, bloating?
Right. That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because MCTs bypass a lot of the typical digestive steps. It puts less strain on the entire system.
Okay.
Which can be a game changer if you're dealing with uncomfortable fullness and pressure.
So it's not just about what MCT oil does.
Right.
But it's also what it doesn't do.
Exactly.
It doesn't hang around in your stomach causing trouble.
Precisely. A lot of factors contribute to bloating.
Sure.
Food sensitivities, imbalances in gut bacteria. But that ease with which MCT oil is digested can definitely play a role in minimizing that discomfort.
Gotcha. And it's not just about the speed, right? I've also heard that MCT oil can help cultivate a healthier gut environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right. Some studies suggest that certain MCTs, particularly caprylic acid, have antimicrobial and antifungal properties.
Interesting.
So they can essentially help keep those less desirable microbes in check, promoting a more balanced gut microbiome.
So easier digestion and a potential boost to your gut's defenses. I'm starting to see why you're so excited about this.
Let's not overpromise.
Yeah.
But the research on MCT oil and gut health is definitely compelling. It's not a magic bullet.
For sure.
Of course.
Right.
But it can be a valuable tool.
Okay, so I'm sold on the potential benefits.
Okay.
But before I go drenching all my food in MCT oil,
Right.
let's talk strategy. How can I use this effectively to actually see those results?
That's a crucial question because diving in headfirst with any new dietary change can backfire. When it comes to MCT oil, starting slowly is absolutely key.
So no chugging the bottle on day one.
Definitely not. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Suddenly introducing a large amount of MCT oil can lead to digestive upset, which defeats the whole purpose. Think baby steps.
Yeah.
Start with just a teaspoon or two a day.
Okay.
And then gradually increase the amount as your body adjusts.
Got it. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Any other tips for making sure I'm using it in a way that actually benefits my gut?
Absolutely. Choosing the right type of MCT oil and being strategic about when and how you take it can make a big difference.
Okay.
But we'll delve into those specifics in the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah, cliffhanger. All right, listeners, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll uncover the secrets to incorporating MCT oil into your routine like a pro.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Ready to dive into those strategic tips we talked about for really getting the most out of MCT oil.
I was thinking for our listener out there who's dealing with bloating, it's not just about the science of MCT oil, but like how to actually make this work in real life. So let's get tactical.
Absolutely. One of the first things to consider is timing. When you take MCT oil can really make a difference in how your body responds.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not necessarily. Some people find that taking it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, maybe just a half teaspoon or so, helps kickstart their digestion and sets them up for a more bloat-free day.
Okay, but if that feels a little too intense, are there alternatives?
Of course. Another good strategy is to take it about 30 minutes before meals.
Okay.
This can help prime your digestive system, sort of like giving it a heads up that food is coming.
I like that.
Which can reduce the chances of gas and bloating later on.
So we're prepping the digestive system for action.
Right.
It's all about making MCT oil work for you, not the other way around.
Exactly. Play around with different timings and see what feels good for your body.
Okay.
Now here's a tip that might sound a little surprising. Think about mixing your MCT oil with warm beverages.
Warm. Like MIT.
Exactly. Like herbal tea or even just warm water with a squeeze of lemon.
Okay.
The warmth can be very soothing to the digestive system,
Uh-huh.
and it helps that MCT oil blend in more easily.
That's almost like a warm hug for your gut.
Ex-
So you mentioned earlier that choosing the right type of MCT oil matters too.
Right.
What should our listener be looking out for?
Not all MCT oils are created equal for targeting bloating and supporting gut health.
Okay.
Look for pure MCT oil with a higher concentration of caprylic acid.
Okay.
It's often labeled as C8 on the bottle.
Okay, C8, got it. And is that because it's digested even faster than the other types of MCT?
You got it. And that faster absorption can be really helpful when it comes to easing bloating.
Gotcha. And I know you mentioned this earlier, but combining MCT oil with certain other foods
Yes.
or supplements can amplify those benefits.
Absolutely.
It's like a dynamic duo for gut health.
Yeah. Probiotics, for example.
Okay.
You're creating a super team for your gut.
I like that.
The MCT oil helps create a more favorable environment for those beneficial bacteria to thrive.
So it's not just about adding MCT oil, it's about supporting the whole ecosystem in there.
Precisely. You could also try incorporating anti-inflammatory foods alongside your MCT oil.
Okay.
Things like ginger or turmeric or leafy greens.
Those can have a synergistic effect, further calming digestion and potentially reducing bloating.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes total sense. Now let's talk dosage. I know we talked about starting slow,
Right.
but what does that actually look like in practice?
Let's say you start with just a half teaspoon of MCT oil once a day,
Okay.
maybe with breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
If that's going well after a week, bump it up to a half teaspoon twice a day with breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
So gradually increasing.
Listen to your gut approach, literally.
Exactly. By week 3, if everything's still good, you could try a full teaspoon twice a day.
Okay.
And you can gradually increase the amount from there, but you don't need to rush it.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your body and adjust accordingly.
That's good practical advice. Are there any other golden rules when it comes to using MCT oil?
Here are a couple of bonus tips. Staying hydrated is super important. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water a day,
Okay.
especially when you're increasing your MCT oil intake.
Uh-huh.
Also avoid lying down for about 30 minutes after taking it.
Sometimes that can lead to indigestion.
So no immediate naps after my MCT oil dose.
Exactly. And when you're first starting out, it's best to avoid combining MCT oil with other oils.
Okay.
It can make digestion a little more challenging, and it might increase the risk of those side effects.
Gotcha. Keep it simple, especially in the beginning. Now I've been so focused on the how that we haven't really touched on the why some people might experience digestive issues with MCT oil.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
That's a great point. It's important to be aware of those potential side effects, even though they're typically pretty mild and temporary, especially if you ease into it.
Because no one wants to swap bloating for a whole new set of digestive woes.
Exactly. The most common complaint is digestive upset,
Okay.
which might show up as diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, or gas.
Yeah.
And that's often caused by taking too much MCT oil too quickly.
So it all goes back to that slow and steady mantra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind that MCT oil is a source of calories. So if you're not paying attention, it can contribute to weight gain.
Right.
It's not a free pass to indulge. It's about incorporating it thoughtfully into your overall diet.
So enjoy the benefits, but be mindful of the calories. Now, I know this might sound like a lot to remember,
Right.
but the good news is it gets easier over time. As you become more familiar with MCT oil and how your body reacts,
Exactly.
you'll become a pro at adjusting your intake and methods.
It's a journey of discovery, and along the way, you might just find that MCT oil becomes this valuable tool in your quest for digestive comfort.
That's awesome. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, there's one more thing we should touch on.
Safety.
Safety first.
What are the key things our listeners should keep in mind?
While MCT oil is generally well tolerated, especially when you follow the guidelines we talked about,
Right.
there are a few things to keep in mind. If you have any underlying health conditions, it's always smart to check with your doctor before adding MCT oil.
Yeah, good advice. They can help determine the appropriate dosage and make sure it won't interact with any medications.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. And always listen to your body. If you have any persistent or severe digestive discomfort,
Right?
or any other concerning reactions, stop taking MCT oil and talk to your doctor.
Proceed with caution and seek professional guidance if needed.
Exactly. Now, while we've talked about potential side effects, it's important to say that many people tolerate MCT oil really well.
Right.
Don't let those possibilities scare you off from trying it for bloating and overall gut health.
Yeah, that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground on how to utilize MCT oil effectively.
Yes.
But before we send you off to experiment in your kitchens,
Yes.
there's one more piece to this puzzle we need to explore. How is this intriguing oil actually made?
Yes. The journey from coconut to bottle is quite fascinating.
Okay, so stay tuned for part 3, where we pull back the curtain and delve into the production process of MCT oil. All right, welcome back for the final part of our MCT oil adventure. I'm ready to learn how this stuff is actually made.
It's a pretty cool process. Actually, it involves a little bit of chemistry magic.
Okay, so I'm picturing bubbling beakers and scientists in lab coats.
Not quite that dramatic, but there is a key process called fractionation.
Okay.
That's essential for making pure MCT oil.
Fractionation. Sounds a little intimidating.
It might sound technical, but it's basically a way of separating different parts of a liquid based on their boiling points.
So is it kind of like distilling alcohol? But instead of separating ethanol, we're isolating those good MCTs.
Exactly. And the process usually starts with coconut oil or palm kernel oil,
Okay.
which are naturally rich in MCTs.
Uh-huh.
These oils are heated, and because different fatty acids have different boiling points, they evaporate at different temperatures.
So the MCTs with their shorter chains, they're kind of the first ones to go.
Exactly. They vaporize first, and then they're collected and condensed back into liquid form, resulting in that pure MCT oil.
So that's how we get that concentrated dose of MCT goodness. Now, when I'm shopping for MCT oil, I often see labels that mention C8 or C10.
Right.
What's the difference? And does it even matter?
That's a great question. So C8 refers to caprylic acid,
Okay.
and C10 refers to capric acid.
Great.
Both are medium-chain triglycerides. But C8 is kind of the star of the show when it comes to fast energy and ketone production.
It's like the Usain Bolt of MCTs.
Exactly. It's absorbed and metabolized incredibly quickly.
Okay.
C10 is a little bit slower on the uptake,
Yeah.
but it still has benefits. And a lot of MCT oils that you'll find are actually a blend of both,
Okay.
offering kind of a balance.
So if I'm really interested in that quick energy, I should look for a higher concentration of C8.
That's a good idea. But
Yeah.
if you prefer a more balanced approach, or if you find that just C8 causes some digestive issues, a blend might be a better option.
And, of course, listening to your body is key. Besides the C8 and C10 ratios, what else should our listener keep in mind when they're choosing an MCT oil?
Always look for purity. You want a product that is 100% MCT oil
Okay.
without any added fillers or flavors or other unnecessary ingredients.
Got it. No sneaky additives. Are there any other red flags to watch out for?
It's a good idea to pay attention to the source of the MCT oil.
Right.
Coconuts are the most common,
Uh-huh.
but some brands use palm kernel oil.
Okay.
Now, while palm kernel oil can be a perfectly good source, it's super important to make sure that it's sustainably harvested to avoid contributing to deforestation.
Right. I'm always trying to be more mindful of my environmental impact. How can I tell if a brand is doing that? Sourcing their ingredients responsibly.
Transparency is key. A good brand should be really open about their sourcing practices and be willing to answer any questions. You might even see certifications or info about their sustainability efforts on their website or product packaging.
So do your research and don't be afraid to ask questions. I know price can be a factor when we're choosing supplements. Is it worth it to go for a more expensive MCT oil?
Yeah, there's definitely a range of prices out there. While you don't have to spend a fortune, investing in a high-quality MCT oil from a good brand is often worth it.
It's an investment in your health.
Exactly. And you're putting this into your body, so quality and purity should be top priorities.
Great advice. Any other parting words of wisdom for our listener as they start their MCT oil journey?
Yeah, just remember that everybody is different. So pay attention to how you feel.
Yeah.
Try different brands, types, and dosages. If you notice any digestive issues, just back off a bit. Or try a different product. It's all about finding what works best for you.
That's great. This has been such a fun deep dive into the world of MCT oil. We've talked about the science, uncovered strategies for using it, and learned how to choose good products.
I hope our listener feels ready to experiment and discover how this oil can support their gut health and overall well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. Start slow, listen to your body, and enjoy the journey. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, don't be afraid to talk to a healthcare professional.
Absolutely. They can offer personalized advice and help you figure out if MCT oil is right for you.
Happy experimenting, everyone.